So, this is my third time up here in less than a year, and it seems to be getting easier. But today I wanted to talk about what happened to me last weekend. Ryan came up to me after service and said, "Hey, man, do you remember where you were last year?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, it's like a year anniversary of that concert. He's like, "Have you sat in that?" And I'm like, "No." So that's what I did this week. I sat in that, and I was gonna write, because you guys know I like to write. I'm very good at it. There we go. And I started writing, and I was told, "You're not writing notes." So it's kind of raw. And then this version of Proverbs, or this verse from Proverbs, is amazing. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. My own understanding is to very carefully script out everything I'm going to say, because I have a stutter. And when I get nervous, it really comes out. And I don't like that to be kind of shown. And so, so I sat in that. A year ago, I was afraid of my own shadow. I would come up here to church on Tuesdays, the CR, and I would have to leave because I'd have a panic attack, and I'd go home and I'd try and get calmed down. And then when I wouldn't get calmed down, I'd be in the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack, and then I'd come here on Wednesdays and try and sit in the men's meeting and open up to these men while I'm sitting there watching these videos. I'm lightheaded and dizzy and passing out and, chewing an Ativan like it's Tic Tac. And I wasn't abusing it. I want to put that out there. I was taking it as the doctor prescribed it. But I couldn't go. It was, wake up, take an Ativan. At lunch, take another Ativan. At dinner, take another Ativan. At bed, take an Ativan. And if you've ever been on a regime like that, there's an Ativan fog. Like, you don't remember much. And so this disciple concert came up, and I signed up for hospitality because I needed a reason to go there other than just to go stand in a parking lot with a lot of weird people that I don't know. And so I signed up for hospitality, which is not what I do, or at least then is not what I did. And so I get there, and Jason Ryan's there, and I'm like, "Hey, bud," and he's like, "So what are you doing here?" I was like, "Hospitality," and he'd move a foot, and I'd just, move a foot with him, and he'd move a foot, and at some point, Jason ditched me, and I found Ryan, and Ryan stayed on my hip for 3 hours that night, and let me enjoy that concert, and by about 10 o'clock at night, I was kind of in my own thing. And you know what happened? I had to take an Ativan. And that was the biggest thing. I did not die from that fear that I had. So it was the turning point. It's what started bringing me out of my shell, and it's been amazing since then. And what's weird is I talk to most of you throughout the week, or on Sunday or anything like that, and I'm not nervous, and you guys know I have a weird sense of humor, and sometimes it borders on the mean. I grew up in New Jersey. Sarcasm was taught in kindergarten, so it's just who I am, but I'm working on it. I realized a couple of weeks ago, you know what, Robert is the butt of all my amazing jokes. So I have tried very hard to refocus that. And sometimes it's hard, but it works out. But, so in this week, I got to thinking about that. And it's like, what did I do to make this happen? And here's the truth. I didn't do anything. I woke up every day, I read my Bible, I went for runs, I went for walks, I tried to eat a little bit better, I read my Bible. When I was scared, I would call Ryan, or I'd call Jason, or Colin, or Brett occasionally. Brett's a hard guy to get a hold of, by the way. And then, my brother David back there, he came in. Normally he goes to Enterprise Community Church, but he decided to come in today to listen to me speak. And, all of these people that are now in my life, God brought them to this church, not to just help me, but to help everybody else. If you're a man in this church and you don't know Barry, Ryan, Jason, Colin, Brett, Robert, you need to make a connection with them. I mean, they have helped me through so much. And it's not them personally, it's God putting them in my lives and showing me a little bit of what I need. And you know, each one of these people is a part of my personality. And I haven't quite figured out what Robert is yet, but I'm working on that. See, it's so easy. It's so easy. Anyway, I love you, brother. You know that. But I just wanted to, you know, share this last year because, you know, sit in it for a week and remember where I was. And I'm so far removed from where I was a year ago. You know, through God's grace, I've started my company, and through God's grace, I've started my ministry. And all of this is just coming together. You know, I got fired a couple weeks ago and haven't looked back. There's no anxiety because I know that I'll be okay, because when you submit to Him, He will make your path straight. So, it was nice talking to you guys today.